Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, Yahya Sinwar, who masterminded the October 7th attacks on Israel, is now the new head of Hamas after Ismail Haniyeh was recently killed in Iran. The Israeli military has called Sinwar a dead man walking and promises he will meet the same fate as other terrorist leaders. Is the White House helping Israel enough in the battle against terrorism? We're going to hear from analysts who says there's no real deterrence against Iran. Vice President Kamala Harris has her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Now the candidates from both parties are criticizing each other as the presidential campaign heats up even hotter. And his song, He Saw the Best in Me, went viral and he got a record deal. We're going to bring you the remarkable musical journey of Mervin Mayo. All those stories and more ahead today, right here on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this Wednesday in the Middle East, where the terrorist who plotted the deadly sneak attack on Israel on October 7th, Yahya Sinwar, is now the new head of Hamas. But Israel's military says he'll meet the same fate as other Hamas leaders who have been eliminated by the Jewish state. All of this as tensions remain high in the Middle East, as Israel prepares for a major attack by Iran and its proxies. CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell brings us the story. He's reporting from Jerusalem.
Defense Minister Yoav Gallant told a group of IDF pilots on Tuesday that Israel is ready to defend itself from an Iranian attack.
Every day that passes, we improve our readiness, both in defense and in attack.
In Beirut, Hezbollah Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah vowed revenge for the killing of his top commander and claimed that waiting to attack was part of his battle plan.
Therefore, the Israelis want to end this situation. This standby situation is part of the battle.
The Washington Post reporting that Iran itself may be reconsidering a major retaliation. In southern Lebanon, hundreds celebrated the selection of Yahya Sinwar as the next leader of Hamas. Sinwar takes over for Ismail Haniyeh, who was killed in Tehran last week. Sinwar, who plotted the October 7th massacre of 1,200 Israelis and kidnapping of more than 250, is Israel's most wanted terrorist, hiding in the Gaza Strip and likely surrounded by some of those hostages as human shields. IDF chief spokesman Daniel Hagari said Sinwar will take his place alongside other enemies eliminated by Israel.
There is only one place for Yahya Sinwar. It's next to Muhammad Def, next to Andur, next to Ayman Nofel, next to all the terrorists that were responsible for the 7th of October. This is the only place we are planning for Yahya Sinwar.
With the Middle East on edge, former assistant to the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Aryeh Lightstone, who is the current executive director of the Abraham Accords Peace Institute, says the Gulf countries are watching and waiting.
Well, for the looming war that they have right now, they know that Iran has been the #1 instigator of malfeasance across the region, not just was, but are and likely will be until the head of the snake is cut off. When our allies, the moderate Arab states, look at the United States of America and see our equivocation after October 7th, what are they going to do if we ever need help? And what that does is call into question the efficacy of an American alliance.
Lightstone says, as a result, these moderate Arab nations are looking east, not west.
There is no doubt about it that each country in the region has reached out to India and China in more robust ways because they know that the United States of America under a Democratic administration cannot and will not be relied upon.
Yet Lightstone believes Israel is on edge, but he expects it to come out on top.
The feeling is tense, but I think tense like a spring ready to be unleashed. And that spring, once it's unleashed, I believe will demonstrate that Israel is once again the regional superpower that it was once considered prior to October 7th.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
While Lightstone and others believe Israel will ultimately be successful, some analysts say the White House is not doing as much as it could to support the Jewish state. As the Jerusalem bureau chief of the Jewish News Syndicate, Alex Tremaine, has his finger on the pulse of events in Israel and the country's position on the global stage. Chris Mitchell spoke with him about this moment in Israel's history, its relationship with the U.S., and the dangers it faces in the Middle East.
Alex Treman with Jewish News Syndicate. Thanks for joining us. You posted something on your X account from Richard Goldberg where he makes a lot of points about, this current situation. Why did you think that was so important to repost?
Well, the United States is basically saying, we don't know whether Iran is going to attack. We hope it doesn't attack. If they attack, we will try to defend Israel. What they should be saying is you will not attack, because if you attack, we will consider it like an attack on the United States, and we will punish you severely. Right now, there is not a very credible military threat, so there is no deterrence against Iran. The United States has the wherewithal to provide that deterrence, or even just to say, we will not hold back Israel from doing whatever they need to do to repel your attack. They're not doing that either. So they're not only not putting their own military threat on the table, but they're trying to take Israel's military threat off the table, and it's giving Iran the sense that they maybe don't have a green light, but they at least have a yellow light to go ahead and attack Israel.
Has this been the story with Israel and the U.S. almost since October 7th?
Pretty much, yes. It seems clear that the United States wants to help Israel to defend itself. It doesn't want Israel to absorb large attacks on its home front. But at the same time, they are willing to let Israel fight but not win the war. And they don't want Israel, or they have not allowed Israel to reestablish the deterrence that's necessary to restore calm in the region.
How would you describe perhaps the attitude of Israel right now in terms of what kind of response they might have? For example, in April, their response to that attack on April 13th, 14th was pretty muted. What kind of do you expect from Israel now?
Exactly. On April 13th, Iran sent over 300 ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones at Israel. And there was more than 95% interception rate between Israel, the United States, and other allies in the region that all worked hand in hand to repel those attacks. Israel thought that this was a red line and they needed to respond. It was the first time Iran had directly attacked from its own soil. And Joe Biden at the time told Israel to, quote unquote, take the win and not really to respond. So Israel did respond with a very muted response. They attacked near the Isfahan nuclear site, and they hit a missile defense system, which was basically made, that counterattack was made to demonstrate the long arm of the law of Israel, but to show them that they can reach targets deep inside Iran, but at the same time was muted to the extent that it wouldn't cause a counter reaction. At this point, the fact that they're willing to attack again demonstrates that the deterrence has not been restored. And I think that Israel is very, very likely to respond much more fiercely. At the same time, the United States is trying to keep Israel from doing that.
Final question, Alex. What's at stake right now here in the Middle East?
Well, Iran has destabilized the Middle East for decades. They've completely destabilized Yemen. They've destabilized Iraq. They've destabilized Syria. They've destabilized Lebanon, and they've destabilized Gaza. Everybody talks about Israel. Israel is trying to transform the Middle East, and the formula for doing that is simple to define, but it's difficult to carry out. The first is to defeat the terrorists, and the second is to normalize with the moderate actors. And Israel has been engaged in both. Israel has been carefully trying to degrade Hamas's capabilities in the Gaza Strip. Israel will now shift much of its focus towards the north and try to degrade Hezbollah, which is likely to participate in the strike that Iran is planning right now. You saw that the United States and the UK and Jordan all urging their citizens to leave Lebanon because they understand that Israel is now going to shift its focus towards the north and to remove Hezbollah, which is Iran's strongest terror proxy. But Israel must degrade the terror capabilities of the largest state sponsor of terror, which is Iran. That's to cut off the arms of the octopus tentacles, which is Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and others, and also to demonstrate to Iran directly that their malign activity in the region is coming to an end, and that's the only way to restore peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, Alex Treman with jnsnews.org. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris.
Here at home, Vice President Kamala Harris makes her debut with her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, at a rally in Philadelphia. It happened last night. We'll bring you a look and hear the Trump campaign's response to her choice when we come back. Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz spend their first full day as running mates campaigning in the key Midwestern swing states of Wisconsin and Michigan. Last night, they criticized the Republican candidates, former President Donald Trump and Senator JD Vance, at their first appearance together, while the Trump campaign says the selection of Walz shows how radical Harris is. CBN's Dale Hurd has our report.
Vice President Harris said she picked Minnesota Governor Tim Walz because she was looking for a fighter for the middle class. The 60-year-old Walz spent 12 years in Congress, served in the Army National Guard, and was a high school social studies teacher and football coach.
Coach Walz and I may hail from different corners of our great country, but our values are the same. And we both believe in lifting people up, not knocking them down.
Even before he was picked, Walz made an impact on the campaign by calling Donald Trump and the Republicans weird, a line he repeated last night.
You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy, and yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see. That's what you see.
The Trump campaign calls Walz dangerously liberal. Trump running mate JD Vance said the choice highlights how radical Kamala Harris is.
But I think that what Tim Walz's selection says is that Kamala Harris has bent the knee to the far left of her party, which is what she always does.
Walz signed a bill allowing abortion up until the moment of birth and signed an executive order allowing trans surgeries for minors. In 2020, he delayed sending the National Guard to Minneapolis to stop riots that broke out after the death of George Floyd. He's also defended socialism.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Still ahead, anti-Israel protest in Washington, D.C. turned anti-American to the point of burning an American flag. We're going to hear from one congressman who stepped in and helped restore the Stars and Stripes to their proper place. We'll have the story for you right after this. Anti-Israel protests rocked Washington during Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to Congress last month, even turning anti-American as protesters pulled down and burned an American flag. But they also produced a patriotic moment. CBN's John Jessup spoke with New York Congressman Brandon Williams, who helped to restore Old Glory to its proper place.
So by now, we've all seen that video of the American flag being burned and then later replaced by a Palestinian flag. Congressman Williams, can you tell us what were your thoughts when you first saw the scene?
Well, John, I'm a Navy veteran, and the flag means a lot to me and to my family. The fact that that was happening right at the heart of our democracy, just a few blocks away from the Capitol building, it really got to me, and I knew that we had to do something. And it wasn't until later that evening till the opportunity arose for us to make it right.
So I understand you actually led the recruitment campaign to replace the flag. Can you share how that all started? And then also, once you replaced the flag and Old Glory was restored, what was that like?
Well, it was a very moving night. We had a late night series of votes, I think around 8:30. And as I drove back to the Capitol, I went by Union Station and saw that the 3 American flags that are normally there had not been replaced because earlier, of course, they'd been burned. I had about 45 minutes on the House floor to recruit other members. And of course, I was drawn to other Navy veterans that came and joined me. And then I just happened to grab Speaker Mike Johnson, and I said, Speaker, this is what we're going to do. Are you with us? He said, absolutely, I'll be there. And we literally walked down the steps of the Capitol after votes, just like you see on TV. Some walked over to Union Station. It's that close. And some drove. And we just took turns getting the 3 flags rigged. The Metropolitan Police of Washington, D.C. were actually there and welcomed us and helped us. We raised those flags as a very proud moment. And then Congressman Derek Van Orden says, hey, Brandon, why don't you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And we lined up, said the Pledge of Allegiance, and frankly, it's a moment I'll never forget.
What's been the response from your constituents and fellow lawmakers after seeing the video and seeing what you all did?
Well, you know, honestly, I've told the story and retold the story a few times here in Central New York, and people are on the verge of tears. They really connect with this moment in American history. They like that we fought back, that we made it right, and that it was actually the leadership of the country that actually did something tangible and meaningful. And so these kinds of actions are symbolically important. I think they inspire other people to stand up in their communities, stand up and do what's right. It's okay to stand for the flag.
Congressman, we only have a few seconds left, but I do want to ask you, police are not just looking for those who vandalize and destroy property. We have video shot by one of our videographers. In it, it appears to show one of the leaders of the protests chanting and getting others to speak in Arabic, saying, "We are the people of Mohammed Def." He, of course, is the Hamas military commander who was recently killed in an airstrike. That video is currently being examined by translation experts. If true, how concerning is that?
Well, these are pro-terrorist protesters. When they say death to America, we should take them at their word, particularly when it's in the shadow of our Capitol building and is on our own soil. And so the police have to investigate this and prosecute it to the fullest extent of the law. At a minimum, it's assault on police officers and destruction of government property. Remember, you can burn your own flags. You can't burn government property. That's vandalism and destruction. And we need to find these people. And if they're here, on student visas, I think we should deport them.
Local and federal surveillance of these types of events is ongoing given the violence and destruction of property some of these demonstrations have produced, and ahead of the fall semester as students return to college campuses, which spawned many protests earlier this year. John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
A police officer becomes an online sensation when millions watch him sing the tune "He Saw the Best in Me," and it's led to a record deal. We'll bring you the remarkable story of recording artist Mervin Mayo when we come back.
Get your daily quick start from CBN News. A quick read on the important news of the day delivered right to your inbox. Stay current on breaking news, politics, and entertainment. Go to quickstart.news and subscribe today.
Recording artist Mervin Mayo became a viral sensation when millions clicked to view him sing the tune "He Saw the Best in Me." That video landed the police officer the record deal, and the rest is musical history.
Sitting here thinking about how my life has changed, how I'm not the same.
What was it like growing up in Richmond?
My mom worked 2 jobs, and so even though I grew up in what they call the projects, I didn't feel like I grew up in the projects. Anything I wanted, we had. You know what I mean? So the only thing about life growing up younger what was hard was the crime, seeing people getting robbed, seeing murders and stuff like that. But I didn't struggle.
How did you make the police mentor connection, and what did that do for your life?
An officer by the name of Curtis Simmons kind of took me under his wing, kept a hold on me, and you know, just kept me out of trouble. And so when I got a little older, I vowed that if I ever get the opportunity, which I never thought I'd be a police officer, but I put an application in and they hired me. And but I said if I ever get the opportunity to be a police officer, to be a police officer, that I would give back and work with the same program that kept me out of trouble. And so I've been working with the police athletically for about 17 years, working with at-risk youth. Because a lot of them don't understand. They have nothing to lose. They don't care about life. They don't care about nothing. And so I try to put some type of, put something in them to make them have something to care, make them change their ways just a little bit.
What made you begin to share those songs online, to post them?
During COVID, I shared a couple of songs that I was doing, and I guess because so many people were at home with nothing else to do, they were just going online. It's like I did a rendition of Marvin Sapp, "He Saw the Best in Me," like I always do, and just post just because I just like to share, you know, God's word. Not for fortune, not for fame. I just like to share God's word, and so I did it. And man, I woke up the next morning with like over 1 million views. And so the people shared it, and it was like went viral. And our radio, news stations were calling me, and I'm like, It was like, what made you decide to upload a video? I'm like, well, no. What made them decide to look at the video? Because I've been uploading, and so I've been doing it for years, man. But I think during COVID, kind of catapulted my career because everything that I put out started becoming viral, like back to back, back to back.
For who I am, it's all the best, the best.
Take me back to the song that changed it all, if you will, the one that went viral online. What did that do to change your life?
It didn't change my life, for real, because I've been worshiping and praising God all the while. What it did was it changed my audience. My life is the same, but my ministry has gotten bigger, if that makes sense.
Mervin's latest project is called God Did It. It's available wherever you purchase, stream, or download your music. And be sure to join us tonight for a special edition of Studio 5. We're taking a closer look at Horizon, an American saga. The epic Western is the passion project of actor Kevin Costner, who funded the project with nearly $40 million of his own money. We're going to talk to Costner about the saga, along with several members of the cast. You can catch the special edition of Studio 5 this evening at 8 Eastern. You can watch it on the CBN News channel or the CBN News app. And of course, you can also find it on YouTube. Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is word. Remember this: God's word is alive, his living word is powerful, and his word will work for you. Present his word to him, remind him of his promises, and be encouraged by his word. It is the answer for every concern, fear, and worry. With his word, make this a wonderful Wednesday. That will do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time as well as online. That address is cbnnews.com. Take a moment and let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, which of course is formerly known as Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right back here, same time tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye and God bless.